Entrepreneur Chat on Radio Ramadan. Is it Radio Ramadan or Ramadan? It's Ramadan Radio.
Ramadan
I always
Radio.
get shouted.
It's Ramadan Radio.
So I'm Manan Malik, and this is the show where we sit down with local business owners, entrepreneurs, and visionaries to uncover their journeys, the struggles, the wins, and the lessons they've learnt along the way. Whether you're an aspiring entrepreneur, already running a business, or just love hearing stories of ambition and success, this is the show for you. Today...
Am I on the right show?
Oh my God. Why are you interrupting my intro? Today, we've got a heavyweight, in more ways than one, of the halal food industry. A man who's built a reputation for quality, craftsmanship, and innovation in the world of halal meat. My guest is none other than Adnan Malik, the owner of Malik Butchers, and of course, my big brother. Assalamu alaikum, Adnan. How are you doing?
Some
So,
bit of an introduction there.
you didn't like that? Yeah?
Nice, liked it.
Yeah.
Cute.
Okay. How's your rosé going so far? How's Ramadan been for you?
So, I always struggle with the first 7, 8, 9, 10 due to my caffeine addiction. So it's been its usual struggle, brain fog. I can't do anything. But today was a bit of a different day. You get that sort of resurgence at about 2 o'clock.
Yes.
And I felt active. I've kicked off a few times, not going to lie.
So how many fights have you had in
I've
Ramadan?
had a few kickoffs. Today's been a kickoff day. So
I had to calm you down early, didn't I?
yeah. But no, it's part of the process. It will, but yeah, kicked off a lot.
Okay, and so with Ramadan, you got your caffeine dependency that makes you angry. Does it? What else?
Blurs my vision. I can't. It's just brain fog. I can't think. I don't want to do anything productive at all.
Okay.
So looking through invoices is not something that you want to be doing on day 2 of Ramadan at 11 a.m.
Okay, and how are you feeling now, though? Are you ready for this interview? Are you ready for this podcast show? That doesn't feel really good.
Yeah, I know,
For everyone that's just listening,
ready,
he was just
I'm ready.
staring at me. Sorry.
I'm ready.
Okay, look, let's get into it. Tell me more about Malik Butchers, because obviously I know everything about it, but the viewers and the listeners at home, and we've got TikTok live at the moment. What is Malik Butchers? What are you selling? Why are you different?
Okay, so Malik Butchers is an accumulation of 50 odd years of serving the halal food sector with halal meat. It's an accumulation of ideas and minds and recipes and visions and inspirations. It's all come up to this, what it is now. And what it is now, it's a premium halal artisan butchers. And I set out about 5 years ago to create this. I didn't think I could do it.
Okay.
And what we specialize is innovative premium products for the halal market. But that's not to say that it's just halal customer or Muslim customers we get. We appeal to all sorts of demographics because of our flavor fusions in a lot of the things that we do.
So tell me about some of the products that you guys are famous for.
So we are well known for our sausages, beef bacon, wagyu pastrami, lamb ham. We do good quality steaks that are available daily in store, as well as having them delivered nationwide. So you can get up in the morning and you can decide that you want a steak, and we will have one for you, and we'll have some of the best steaks on the market there for you.
What kind of steaks are we talking
So we're
about?
talking, we regularly stock Aberdeen Angus, which is sourced actually from Ireland. And that's the dominant sort of steak that's in the halal market at the moment. And then we have my personal favorite, which is the USDA Prime, and then Wagyu as well. So those are the 3 ranges that we do. And we also have a sort of slightly cheaper range as well, which we call the commercial range, which is also very good. So yeah, for all budgets, so you could come in with a £5 and I'll be able to give you a steak, and you could come up with 500 quid and I'll give you a steak as well.
Okay, that's good to hear. So there's a wide variety of choice. And how are you different from normal butchers, other than just the products that you've got? Which
We pride ourselves on cleanliness, on on a customer experience that isn't the norm for when you walk into a halal butcher. So when you're walking into halal butchers, similarly as you're walking into Jamaican food shops, there's not, customer focus is always on the back foot. We've noticed that, we knew it, and you don't get many British-born butchers. You know,
It's quite a desi game,
it's a
isn't it?
desi game with desi attitudes, and I think the language barrier sort of plays into that sort of bad or lack of customer service. So it being clean, a great customer experience, knowledgeable about the products and the cuts that we're serving. It's packaged well, it's delivered well. We have the deli next door, so you can grab a bite to eat. So that makes it unique. We have the street food stall up front. Our history, the fact that we've been knocking around for 50 odd years, I think all of that combined makes us slightly different to the rest of the market.
Okay. No, and you mentioned obviously the history. That's obviously a big part of it. So I understand Malik Butchers. I'm acting like I don't know.
You idiot. Go on.
I understand that Malik Butchers was established in 1970. So tell me a little bit more about that story. You've mentioned it a few times. How did it start? Talk me about how it's been passed over from generation.
It's a bit of a long-winded story, but I'm going to sort of try and keep it as short as possible. My granddad was always an eater, and he was stuck out in Kenya. And in Kenya, there was a big tradition to sort of grill meats and stuff like that. Anyway, he was a bit of an entrepreneur, not a bit, a lot of an entrepreneur. He was a carpenter, building contractor by day, and he set up a little a shop where he sort of served meat because he was such a big meat eater. He always fancied it, and he started doing that there. That was in 1958. That's a place called Aziz Butchery. We've got the stamps from that. And then he came over to the UK, and there was an incident. So the story goes, an incident. Somebody said, "Why don't you put up your own shop?" So he went and bought this shop against the advice of everyone, set it up as a convenience store with a butchery, and then the rest, they say, is history. And then he passed it on to his 3 son-in-laws, who then sort of filtered themselves out. And then my dad bought the majority shares, I think, in 1976 or something like that. I can't remember the exact date. And then Dad worked it, and throughout our childhood, we were there. We were ever present. That's my address. That's where I live. That's where I was brought up. I used to go out. I've got a good connection with a lot of the old heads in Wolverhampton, and that's because they'd be standing in my living room, which is the shop, and they'd be talking about stuff and buying meat and, you know, having a laugh and a joke and just discussing stuff. And I grew up watching this. And I've always, you know, touching back on the question you said, what makes Malik Butchers different? We're a family as well. It's a family-run business. And even though no matter how big we get, we're going to keep going on that family business vibe. And that's how it felt in that shop. Everyone was family. Even now, you know, the regular customers, they're part of our family. And then fast forward to now, and that's it. That's the basic history of it. There's been lots of like sort of peaks and troughs in between, but yeah, that was the main gist of where we are and what we're doing.
Okay, and so you took it over in 2009, and we're going to get to what you did with the shop. But prior to that, let's tell everyone about who was Adnan Malik, what was he doing before, what were you like growing up?
I worked in the job centre for a little while. I worked for the DWP for a little while. I had a little flutter with food. You know, you remember we had a trailer up in Cardiff, and we'd go there on the weekends, and we'd serve doner meat and gatalame and samosa burgers and all sorts of contraptions. And that's where my sort of first experience of the food market came.
How old were you at that time?
I think I was 22, 23.
And what was it that attracted you to hot food at that point?
Again, it's always been because we've supplied hot food places, and I've always seen the kind of the reward, the busyness, and I remember I'm a big lad. I like my food. I'm a fatty in it, so I like my food. So it was always that attraction to it. And remember, this was something new at that time. There was only chip shops before that. There was only chip shops and the odd kebab shop here and there, which was Turkish. And then when we were growing up, that's when burgers first come out and doner meat come out, and then you got the Pakistani style takeaways, you know, with the chicken tikka kebabs in the fresh naan breads and stuff like that, and then fried chicken and all that kind of stuff. We were at the start of it. I was there firsthand watching these guys do this. So there was always attraction to that kind of setup. We was in that circles, weren't we?
Yeah.
So that's what we've done.
And obviously, look, the shop and the butchers is very successful now and very different to what it was before. Did you ever see yourself doing something with the shop?
No, I hated it. I absolutely despised it. As a kid, I despised the shop. I hated the fact that I used to have to work on a Friday after Jummah when we had days off with my dad. I used to hate it. I hated every Big Eid. I've never celebrated Big Eid. I still despise Big Eid because I have to work it. I can't do, but no, I still don't. I love it now. I love it now. And that's the thing.
Because all the cash is rolling.
No,
in.
no, it's not the cash. I love when you grow up, you realize the things that you hate are the things that you love. And that's the way it happened with me. Like, you know, I used to hate that. Everyone used to be going to the park or they'd be going to town on a Friday, and I would say, yo, after Jummah, you got to work at the shop, man. And I'll be like, yo, I'd hate it. And back then, the chicken used to stink differently, man. You'd get chicken skin, and I'd be on the crap jobs, and I didn't appreciate the shop. I didn't appreciate it. I didn't know it. I didn't think anything could happen. And my cousin, Asim Hafiz, trainee, he used to say to me, he'd say, you're trying this and you're trying that. You got a gold mine sitting there. And he was the one who said to me, I want a steak. Where do I get a steak from? And this was like 15 years ago. And then Uncle Khalid as well, who does the Ramadan radio, he'd come in, and the Amin family have been our customers for years. And Uncle Khalid's mum, God bless her soul, was one of them characters in the shop, and she'd come and she'd be loud and vocal, and she was a character. And anyway, Uncle Khalid used to go on these little expeditions abroad, and he'd come back and he'd tell me, oh son, I've tried this charcuterie halal here, and you should be doing it, and you know, you need to do this and you need to do that. And then when I actually thought about it, and at that time I thought, Uncle, I can't do that. I'm in Wolverhampton, Dunster Road, it's Uncle Wally's Dukan, like, what do you expect me to do with it? But I'd done exactly what him and Asim had told me, and it kind of worked, didn't it?
Yeah, of course. So just touching last point on you growing up, obviously you mentioned you didn't like the shop. Was there any other alternatives now? I know you mentioned you worked at the job centre. I know as well that you worked the doors and whatnot. Was there ever any other industries that you thought, I want to get into?
I want to be a taxi driver at one point. No, it got so bad that I was always trying stuff. I've never been not trying. I've always been a bit of a wheeler dealer. Always had enough cash to just live a reasonable lifestyle. I've always been in different things, you know, going this way, going that way. We're going to open a gym. We're going to do that. We're going to do this. The point came when I said to you, I pitched my brother. I said, look, I ain't making no money. The shop, I can't make no money at the shop, and I'm gonna become a taxi driver. These taxi drivers driving around in big old cars, you know. I want a piece of that. And he said to me, Manan goes to me, he goes, look, don't you dare drive a taxi. Don't you dare do that.
Not that it's not a bad profession.
No, but it just wasn't something that my skill set.
Yes.
It wasn't in tune with who I am and the ideas I've got and the skills that I've got.
100%.
To just sit there driving a taxi would not do me justice.
100%.
And yes, it's a great living, and man's have earned some big paper off it, but
it doesn't extract the value that you've got as a human being and as a businessman as well.
Yeah,
Totally
yeah.
agree.
So there was that was the point which like sort of was like, okay, then what now?
Okay. And so so in 2009, you'd obviously taken over the shop. We'll fast forward those few years because I know you just sort of ran it as a Desi Butchers, but
we were doing good. We were doing well. We were running a good, clean, profitable operation that was very light touch from my side.
so you weren't actively involved in the business.
No. But it was a good solid business, and that's where I started thinking, yeah, okay.
You could do something with this. So tell me about 2020. Okay, let's fast forward to 2020. This is the point where you
So
came up
I'll
with a
tell you what
drastic
happened.
plan.
There was this program on TV, and this guy was doing trap boxes.
Yep.
This guy's doing trap boxes from his flat. And I thought to myself, well, if he's doing it from his flat, I could do it from my shop.
Yep.
So I decided, I thought, you know what? And then I didn't just stop there. I had the shop planned out in my head. The way it is today, what you see today was always the plan. From that first trap kitchen idea. So what I thought, let's see if I can serve food and if I can pull a crowd in. Okay. So it was May the 6th, was my birthday, and then we made these boxes and we gave 10 out free, and we used the tagline, if you know, you know. Actually, prior to that, we started getting steaks in, do you remember?
Yeah.
And what I realized, when Manan come up to me and he goes, oh, muscle food, we got to do something like muscle food, we got to sell meat online. I thought, what's this guy talking about? You got to sell meat online. I can't get people to come to the shop, let alone online. You know, Patu's here rattling around. There's nothing to do. There's no customers. He wants to go online. Anyway, he put up a post online. It didn't really hit. We put up a steak post. It hit. The steak sold. The killer was, and it's still on our Instagram, I started now looking at doing like English style cuts. So what I done was we had a piece of mutton, and me and Patu, we decided that let's cut this up English style. We cut it up English style and we coined it mutton dressed as lamb, which is technically what we done. We dressed it like lamb. Anyway, we took a picture of it and we stuck it up onto our Facebook, I think it was Facebook. Stuck it on the Facebook. In half an hour, this woman from Birmingham had come, drove down to Wallis Dukan in the middle of nowhere and picked up this meat. And she took the lot. She goes, I want the lot. She goes, it looks fantastic. I was like, what? And that was a kind of eureka light bulb moment for me. Like, oh, okay, this can work. The internet can work. And so it wasn't it was Instagram. Instagram and Facebook can work.
Yeah.
I still thought delivering meat over the internet was pie in the sky. I didn't think that was possible, but I thought, okay, so it's turned up now, and lo and behold, we've got this now idea of, oh, let's do some food out of this. So we've done 10 boxes and we've coined it, if you know, you know. Yeah, remember that on Instagram, 10 boxes. We've done it for free, and we said, look, just promote it. The next weekend we released, it was Ramadan as well, remember? It was Ramadan. And the next weekend we released some more boxes, sold out. We had so many sales. It just continued into sale after sale after sale. And then I thought to myself, look, I've got to push the button on this whole thingy. It's working. You made me do a business plan.
Yes.
You made me do a business plan, and I've done the business plan, and the rest of the is history. The rest is...
Okay, and look, you obviously have had a number of different influences that got you thinking the way that you started thinking as not just a butcher, but a food operator, but also as an entrepreneur that's ready to take big risks. What was the other influences at the time? What kind of stuff were you watching on TV? What other businesses were you looking at that you wanted to try and emulate?
So I've always been fascinated with food. I've always been fascinated with the process of food. That how do you deliver this from here to there? So, like, you know, the whole process of food was always, it was part of our childhood. Our mum was a very keen cook. Our sisters, very accomplished cooks, the pair of them. Rahan, my older brother, he loved the intricacies of flavors and recognizing flavors. Oh, have you put too much? You put too much coriander in this, or you put too much garam masala in this, and this needs a little bit more zira and stuff like that. So we come from a food environment, and then watching stuff on TV, stuff that was unattainable. I think all of us Muslims grew up in this, and I say this to a lot of people, it was really hard for, we're the smallest population percentage of this world population. We're not allowed to eat everything, sweets, chocolates, crisps. You can't eat them, they're haram. Remember there was that controversy about bread being haram. This is haram. E471's haram. You can't do this. Prawn cocktail crisps are haram. You can't even say pig. You got to say GIP. You know, we grew up in that environment. So, and it also goes back into, the food influence goes back into wanting to be British, wanting to be not British, English. Like the English lads, having a full English is quintessentially English.
Yeah.
It is the epitome of, yes, we've landed. And remember, our parents are Pakistani. Our parents are Pakistani. We're half Pakistani. What's the other half of us? It's English. We want to be English. So some of us totally deny it and say, no, 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 no. But they all do it. They all want to go on a spa day. They all want to do this. There's something they want to do, afternoon tea. Whatever it is you want to do something that has traditionally been not allowed by our parents. Because there was a twofold thing. A, they thought it was haram. And B, price. They didn't want to pay the price because they had to send money back home. So that was a massive influence. Then watching Del Boy on TV, eating, loved the way he
Only
ate.
Fools and Horses.
Only Fools and Horses, watching him. Food Network, Guy Fieri and the other one, what's his name?
Adam Richmond.
Adam Richmond. They were like, I was like, wow. And America is like, some of the places in America, they're 100 years ahead of us. They've been doing smash burgers for hundreds of years. Well, 100 years.
Is that right?
Pizza, yes, smash burgers for 100 years. Pizzas, 1900s, they started doing pizzas. And I think a lot of our culture harps back to American culture. American culture is what makes, like I've always said, pizzas weren't made popular by the Italians. It's made popular by American Italians. They're the ones who made it popular. Sushi, it wasn't made popular. It was made popular by these sushi places in America. That's what drove it all over here. And now the whole world's seeing it. Pakistan. They all love pizzas, they all love shawarmas, they all love this. Where's it all coming from? It's all coming from on this side of the world, and it's going over there, and they're loving it. But yeah, so those were the kind of influences on me.
Okay, awesome. And just in terms of, we've only got a couple of minutes left before we go over to a break, but I wanted to know, once you've decided to do this idea, you've got all these influences, you've done this trap boxes, you've done this mutton dressed as lamb, what's the next biggest challenge that you had from getting from your idea in your head to getting the shop that you've got now?
Nobody believed it.
Yeah.
You? What did you say?
said,
Who's going to come and buy a sandwich from your shop? Nobody's going to come and buy a sandwich from your shop.
Is that an impression of me?
That's what you said
Spot
to me.
on.
That's what everyone said to me. Everyone says, you're off your head, mate. Very few people believed in it. My wives believed in it. They all of them. They gave me.
How many?
Doesn't matter now how many. They all gave me support, and they believed in me blindly. My sister believed in me, and she was a big cog to make this all work. Just her saying, "Don't worry, just do it." And that was the biggest overriding factor was me believing that this could work, because I questioned myself 1,000 times a day when I was doing it. But I had also convinced myself, and I think that's the whole thing with a business, isn't it? I think with anything, not just anything, particularly with a business, you just have to convince yourself that you're going to have to do this. And once you start doing it and you put the hours in, it works, and you do it right, you do it properly, you don't cut any corners, it does work, and you give it time, you give it the test of time.
So you'd say self-belief is the most critical thing for you?
That is what I do. That's why I criticize myself more than anyone will ever. I critique myself more than anyone. And on that bombshell, we'll cut it off there. But yeah.
No, that's been honestly riveting stuff. We're going to jump to a short advert break, and we'll be back soon, inshallah, with part 2.
Where is this off?
Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to episode 2 of Entrepreneur Chat with me, Manan Malik. And I'm joined here with my guest and older brother and business owner of Malik Butchers,
Business
Adnan
partner.
Malik. What did I say?
Business owner.
Yeah, but you're a business owner of Malik
But
Butchers.
your business partner.
Okay.
I'm your business partner.
Shalom. Okay, so let's talk about that. How is it running the business with family members, but more particularly with your little brother, Manan Malik? I heard he's a handsome, intelligent fellow.
No, I don't think I'd be able to do it without the family. I don't think I could. Yeah, definitely 100%. It wouldn't have happened without the family. My sisters, my mom, my dad, my brothers, my wives, my children, my nieces, my nephews, my cousins. You know, I've got Farouk in there. He's my older cousin, and I know sometimes it's hard for him to listen to me because I'm so much younger than him, and I have to give him a wide berth at times. But he's invaluable because he's that sense of security. I can go away for 5, 10 days and not worry about finances or being robbed or because he's there. He's down the road. He offers that sense of security for me. Um, you know. And then on the flip side, it's difficult to work with him as well because I can't say nothing to him. I can't say to Farouk like how I would speak to the other members of staff because he's my cousin. He's my older cousin. He didn't tell me to do one.
And just in terms of being that boss amongst family, how did you find the transition going
It's
from?
hard to navigate yourself. You don't know where you stand, and sometimes I have to bite my tongue, and sometimes I don't do that often with other staff. I do with good staff, but when staff are performing poorly, then I have a real bad habit of going off on a real bad sort of shouting episode, and I have that bad habit, but I'm also a very good boss in terms of I look after them. Any requests they make, I sort of facilitate that, and the team that we've got now is kind of perfect for me. I've got some really good workers there, and that comes from a lot of them guys are like family now. They seem like family
Yeah.
because they're the new wave of immigrants into Wolverhampton, and we're the old school immigrants in Wolverhampton. We've even got some of the old school lads. So we've got a Sayyid lad in who's from an old family and I've always worked with people who have got links within the old community, and I think that works well for us. But yeah, it's difficult. It's difficult being a gaffer, and then yeah, it is. It is for your family. It's hard. It's very hard, but it's also very rewarding as well. When you can look after them is nice. It's a nice feeling.
Yeah. And in terms of having a team of people around you, you mentioned obviously family support, and you mentioned you've got a good team now in terms of staff. In terms of delegating and having the right people to move you forward, is that something that you think is critical for a business to help them grow?
Yeah, we've grown because Yusuf, who's here.
I don't know any guy called
Yusuf.
Yusuf.
You interviewed Yusuf.
Yusuf
helped-
Ahmed from ISO.
Yusuf helped me a lot in my recent growth. Just the way he operates and some of the things that he does, I've sort of adopted some of that. And I'm a Desi operator. I used to be a Desi operator. And Yusuf's a very, very sort of on the button, organized, slick operator with what he does. And that's not to say that we both got together and we've both grown together.
Yeah.
So I think I've helped him with some of his personal sort of fitness and discipline in other areas that he required. And he helped me with discipline within the business, and I think we've both sort of grown quite well, quite rapidly, and like we're just moving into the next phase of our growth,
Yeah.
which will be announced. It's coming up very soon. We've been working in the background really hard on some of the things that we're going to launch ourselves. Malik Butchers, Yusuf's been constantly going at it. So what else that happens is that opens up other entrepreneurs who have other ideas, who have other links, who have other things, and it's just a chain reaction of you getting into a place where people are offering you more than what you initially thought was available. So yeah, that having a team is vitally important. We've just taken on my nephew as well, Wahab. So we've got a position for him. I've had to sort of put a position in for him, but we understand the value of you can't do this by yourself. You can't be where you want to be by yourself. And up to about a couple of years ago, before meeting Yusuf, before you sort of started to like sort of really push me, I was pretty content with just the one store, being there, going on holidays, relaxing, working a couple hours a day. But 2025, we've got sort of different targets now. We
Tell me more about those. What's the plans for Malik Butchers then?
Malik Butchers, we want to grow. So we've outgrown our current premises. We knew that was going to happen. We've outgrown it by so much. It's hard to do that. We have to refuse orders.
Yeah.
That's the situation we're on. So earlier on, we had to cut off the internet orders because there's just not enough place to put 100 boxes of. We can't store 100 boxes of meat orders. It's just not happening.
Yeah.
So we had to shut it down. We got that cleared. We opened it up again. So there is, but I'm happy at this situation. So we're now going to move into a larger premises, not retail, just wholesale only. We
So it's going to be like a unit.
You like a unit. You know I've got a soft spot for units. So always
Yes.
wanted to, always wanted a unit. So inshallah, we're just finalising those deals now. We're going to go into a unit, and then hopefully,
so that
inshallah,
unit will facilitate growth for online orders.
for online orders and
wholesale as
wholesale
well.
orders, and then
Is there any plans to potentially expand Malik Butchers and open up more shops?
well. This is one of the things that we've really struggled with. If I'm going to be brutally honest with you, our growth has been very difficult because we are growing, but it's just where are we growing to? Because there's so many different fronts. Like we could go into manufacturing sausages, we can go into selling hot food, we can go into selling raw meat, retail, wholesale. What do we want to do? Online, whatever. So there is a plan, but we're just figuring that out. Franchise model looks like the most interesting. We've had a very interesting inquiry from a strong party who are interested, so we're going to have a look at that. I'm not too keen on anything at the moment on the retail side of things because that's not I see where we are at the moment. It's something that's interesting, but it's just focusing on what we want to do within the structure that we have and within the constraints of what we can do. We don't mess around with interest.
Yeah.
So I don't mess around with interest. You know, I'm dead against it. I live on rent. My car's on lease. You know, I've got nothing. I don't want nothing. Any loans I've had, they've been in the past. That's it. As soon as I opened the shop up, I thought to myself, I'm not doing this. I'm not engaging in mortgaging and remortgaging and this and that. I think I would have been in a totally different position right now. If I had that facility, loan leverage, I would have been in a totally different position because I would have had a couple of stores by now.
Okay, well, look, it is Ramadan, and you've mentioned the fact that you're not messing around with interest. How important is implementing certain facets of being a Muslim, and how has that impacted you as a businessman as well?
The people who know me, they know about who I am and what I'm about. And from a very young age, I've had a strong connection with Islam, but I've not always demonstrated that in my actions. I'm all about actions. I'm all about being sort of aggressive in my conviction to stand up and pray. I ask all my partners. So you were talking about partners and people, and I forgot to mention, we've got some very good customers. You know, we've got some cracking customers, like really good quality. Arif up in King's Castle. I've got Shumul from Tamworth. You know, we've got our kid Jabran turning up now. You know, Yusuf's a customer of mine, friend of mine. You know, reliable, dependable human beings who understand that, look, yes, we want to earn money, but we want to be good Muslims as well. And these are the three things I say. I say, I want to earn money to where I'm comfortable. I want to go to the gym, and I want to pray. And if you want to be around me, you need to be on those three things.
Yeah.
If you're not on those three things, then I don't really want to be hanging around with you. If you're out there chilling in cars at 10 p.m., I don't want to know you. I'm now switched over to being active in the morning. Fajr, active, let's go. Gym, active, let's go. And I think part of being a businessman, you have to realize it's not just the business. It's about, like what I say to people, it's that Mr. Miyagi thing with wax on, wax off. Getting up in the morning and reading Fajr and going to the gym is your wax on, wax off. You need to do it, and then you're in a place where you can defend yourself against all the little things, the problems that are going to happen. And I think that's vitally important. Islam is vitally important to me. And I in my own little way, you know, I always promote it. I always insist. I'm pretty forceful on, boys, come on, let's pray. because I have that nature. I can do that. Not a lot of people can do that. People will. And my uncle from UK Staff Mission, Uncle Zaid Pervez, he saw it a long time ago in me. He goes, look, Adnan, you know what it is? People will follow you with what you do. They tend to follow, and you've got leadership qualities, and he always sort of drummed it into me. And so, yeah, Islam, again, like I said, is vitally important in my business.
Yes.
In my business, we're a halal operator. I don't sell my soul. I serve halal. I try my best to serve the best possible. And let's move quickly on to the elephant in the room with these guys about HMC and blah, 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 blah. Look, there's not an absolute chance that anyone... Halal means, have you seen it being done halal? That's when you can give a proper witness statement that I've seen it being zibad halal. If you can't do that, then you can't guarantee anything. Because you're not an eyewitness. So what we do is we take the eyewitness of the mufti who signed off on the certificate. We say, Mufti Flana Tinkra has signed off on this certificate, we're going to trust him. Now, what else I do is I go to trusted sources.
Yep.
People who I know in the market. Now, it's wild for anyone to think that all of the meat consumed by the Muslims that's labeled halal is halal. It's never going to happen. There's not enough people to cut that many throats. Yeah? I'm going to go out on a bit of a controversy as well and say a lot of not a lot, some of the HMC, and I've spoken to the guys who run HMC. I've got photo evidence of Dutch chicken, which is machine killed, not hand slaughtered, machine killed being sold in HMC butchers. I've got the images. Yeah. Now, that's not to say HMC are not doing a good thing. What we are doing as a Muslim community is we're not trusting, we're vilifying the butchers. I said to HMC, I said, HMC, what you making me out to be, I want to do part HMC for the ones who want HMC, and I want to do part non-HMC for the guys who want non-HMC. You cannot get a USDA prime steak that's a non-HMC. And you know what? I love a USDA prime steak.
Oh, and why can't you get HMC? Because HMC is
HMC is only UK based, isn't it? It's only UK based. Now, I'm not saying that's a bad operation, but I'm not saying it's not all encompassing.
So put yourself in a consumer's shoes. Okay. And the thing is, a lot of this stuff goes over my head, even though I've been involved in the business with you. I'm putting myself into a consumer's shoes and I'm thinking, okay, I want to eat halal meat. What is the best way for me to go about ensuring that I'm eating halal meat?
So you want to buy from a trusted source. It's that simple. Go and see that everyone knows my face. If you don't trust me, don't buy from me. If you don't trust me, then don't buy from me.
And inherently, that's the Islamic guidance.
Well, that's what I believe it is. Remember, this is all, there's no concrete, anyone coming out with anything concrete. Because a lot of these guys are in it for the money.
Yeah.
There's no one who's come and addressed it other than HMC. And even HMC, they go on about stunning. Even you ask the HMC scholars, stunning is only not allowed if the animal dies. You know? There's a difference of opinion. It's a grey area. But these guys are blanket. What we do is blanket statement, haram. I remember somebody said, baby chickens are haram. What do you mean, baby chickens are haram? Like, can you just qualify that? What do you mean? All baby chickens are haram. It's haram to serve a baby chicken. What do you mean?
What was the rationale on that?
They're all haram. They're too small, they're haram. I don't know what the rationale was. I was selling baby chickens, people saying my chickens are haram. We've had to deal with this for all our lives. You know, and this is really, and I am now at a point where I don't care. My dad slaughtered, I watched my dad slaughter with his own hand. I grew up in Summers Poultry, you know. I grew up in poultry farms and speaking with these people and speaking to these boys, you know. And like, just these people, they bring it down. I'm not bothered. I don't want to be HMC. I got a lot of HMC stuff in there. If it's good quality, I'll buy it.
Yeah.
If you're going to give me rubbish, garbage stuff, I'm not buying it. I'm not serving it. Do you know what I mean? So I like to keep it on hand slaughtered.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I like to do. Hand slaughtered, not machine kill, hand slaughtered. But yeah, that is a problem in my business at the moment.
Okay. And In terms of, look, we've discussed about HMC. There is obviously a limitation there with HMC, like you've mentioned, because you can't get imported meats which are
And you
high
just
quality.
can't get the supply. Ramadan comes around now. Chicken prices through the roof. Everyone wants to eat chicken legs, roast chicken legs on Eid. Where are they going to get all these roast chicken legs from? It's a monopoly. It just doesn't work.
And that's the thing. So if you want to go out there and you want to experiment with new product innovation and you want to try new things and bring new things to market, if you are straddled with just doing HMC, you're going to limit yourself in terms
You're
of
going
what
to struggle.
you can
You're
do.
going to struggle. Now, a lot of our stuff is HMC. A lot of it is, but you're going to struggle. And remember this: what I don't like is I don't like the fact that people then lie
And say it's
and
HMC.
say
when
it's
not.
HMC. What do you mean? I ain't going to do that. I ain't going to do that. You know, come Eid, yeah. The HMC shops, yeah, will not have enough niblets. They won't have it.
And then they're going to have beef.
Then it's whatever. And remember, HMC also work in plants that are part-time HMC plants. Well, all right then. How does that figure? Do you know what I mean? And the guys, there are guys who are sly guys. There are guys, and you'll always get them. But for you as a consumer, nothing's haram for you that I've sold you because I've given you with the belief. It's halal for you, bro.
And then it's on your head.
It's
then,
on my
isn't it?
head. I'm going to have to deal with this with the Lord. The Lord's going to pull me up and say, Adnan, you've been selling these wrong, choose it. What are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
I'm going to say, listen, I got it from Jakub there.
So you pass that burden of
Give
responsibility.
it to
on.
Kuba. He's the one who's done it. It's not my job.
Yeah. No, that
And I've known him for how many years?
No, I understand it. Okay. And so, look, we touched on product innovation there. Talk to me about some of the new ideas that you might have in terms of coming up. I know we were looking at a chicken schnitzel.
Yeah,
earlier. What
I've
kind of
tried. I've
things-
tried the chicken schnitzel. What it is my shop's so small that on the display I can't put out all of the stuff. I've got a lot of pastry ideas I want to do. There's loads of stuff I can do, but it's just having the space and the time. And once we get this unit in, that's when we'll start really kicking on. We've got some other ideas. We're going to start stocking some other butchers as well. There's lots to come. It's just we're getting the nitty gritty paperwork out the way.
Okay. And one of the products that we're obviously, well, you, Malik, which is very famous for, I'm saying we as if I'm involved. I'm not. I'm just the host here
Presenter.
today. Yeah. Is the Wagyu pastrami. Talk to me about that. So it's known as the UK's most expensive halal sandwich. It's an example of product innovation that I'm sure you're very proud of. Tell me more about the product. Tell me about the influence. Tell me about what kind of stir it's causing online.
So I've been rattling around with this product for at least 6 years. Yeah. I started off with salt beef. You remember I made them salt beef bagels. It comes from watching one of the Food Network show when, no, just one of them. A lot of them when there's Kat's Deli. Kat's Deli's a Jewish deli. And I just fell in love with the word pastrami, didn't know what it tastes like, wanted to try it. What is this? Salt beef bagel. Then we went to London. Remember, we tried the salt beef bagels over there. Yeah. And then I just started making it. How many times did I mess it up?
Yeah.
Messed it up a few times. And then as the video, some of you might have seen the video on Instagram, as the video suggested, I thought, well, let's make it with Wagyu. Wagyu's an indestructible meat. Let's try it with Wagyu. And it was just the best thing I've ever tasted in my life. And I'm sometimes very questioning of what our products are like. But with that, I knew it was great. Got a couple of guys in, Hungry Bearders and Rudy, another foodie. And I said, come on, let's design this. We designed it, we got it, we mastered it, and it was a hit. Then we took it to the Halal Food Festival, and that's where it blew up. And we really got some traction on that. Now, on the flip side, what we're noticing is that the non-Muslim community absolutely hate us, don't they? A lot of them absolutely hate us, and I was a bit oblivious that, I didn't know that they didn't like us that much.
So that was going to be one of my next questions. We've got 3.5 minutes left, but one of the big things I wanted to ask you about, which a lot of people will talk, and we've touched on it around social media. That's obviously been massively important for the success of Malik Butchers. You're welcome, by the way. In terms of the recent climate where we've been, Malik Butchers' content has gone viral, but with that, you've got a lot of support, a lot of love, and a lot of messages to say good on you. But at the same time, an overwhelming wave of criticism, not just from people who don't like you because you're halal.
It's double-sided for us.
Talk to me about that.
So we get the oh, you're selling sausages. Sausages are haram. How are you selling sausages? Why do you want to imitate the kuffar? Like, grow up, mate. Like, just to briefly touch on that, yeah. A sausage has been in human existence for thousands of years before any Gora started making it out of pork, yeah. It was there. It's literally, if you look at it, it's a preservation method that Allah has probably created, not probably has created. You use the intestines of an animal and stuff the meat into there with a bit of salt and you make a sausage. It's that simple. And what happens is you can leave that sausage hanging up in your cave for 100 days and nothing's going to happen to it. Yeah. So who do you think designed this? That's the real essence of it. Yeah. And then it was done in modern day Iraq. It traveled to Turkey. Turks eat sausages. Sujuk. What is it? But these guys, you know, they come after us. Oh, imitating the kuffar. Okay, mate. So put them idiots to the side because they're just idiots. The one that really hurts, is the Gore, Bachare, the non-Muslims. I was so oblivious to how many of them hate us and hate Islam. And this is the Tommy Robinson effect now.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't prevalent before. It's the Tommy Robinson thingy. And the fact that these guys are looking at Islam and thinking that it's an evil sort of ideology, that's like shocking for me. Like, I was like taken aback from it. But like, as they say, all publicity is good publicity, so I don't mind. But the one that affects me, like, I can accept the apne Pakistanis, Indians, Bengalis, Muslims saying to us, you're selling ham, you sell out, you know, you want to imitate the kuffar. I can deal with that. But when the Gore come after us and the non-Muslims come after us, and it's sometimes not even white English, it's sometimes like Indians. Like, whoa, how are you doing it? Like, come on, bro. Like, why are you saying this? You know, you're the same as us. You know, or the black guys. Like, really, you guys as well?
Yeah. Look, social media is a wild place, and that's the problem. I think people are emboldened to say what they want because there's a lack of repercussions, so they can say what they want knowing that there's a screen behind them or in front of them that's not going to be penetrated by anyone who doesn't like their ideologies. But look, we've got to wrap up the show. That's been super interesting. And just to touch on social media, if you're not following Malik Butchers, at Malik Butchers on Instagram and on TikTok, give them a follow. We will hopefully be having some of this segmented on there as well. But thank you so much for joining us. Adnan, thank you for joining us today. And we'll see you all soon, inshallah, next week. Inshallah, assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. Who's on next?